Brucellosis is the most common zoonotic infection worldwide. It is caused by the bacteria Brucella, and the natural reservoirs for this disease are animals, and humans are only accidental hosts. The bacteria are transmitted from animal to human by ingestion of infected products of animals and direct contact with infected animals, and also with inhalation of aerosols. Brucellosis is still common in some parts of the world, such as the Middle East, Asia, Africa, South and Central America, and the Mediterranean basin. These are some latest results from for the incidence of brucellosis in Europe and USA. Brucellosis is a mandatory notifiable disease in the Republic of Macedonia since 1960, and the first individual cases were registered in 1962. The first outbreak among humans was registered in 1980, and since then the disease is registered in epidemic form. The government and the Ministry of Health started with a program for elimination of this disease in 1988, and that program is revised annually and it's still ongoing. We registered the highest incidence of brucellosis in 1992, and it's almost 45 over 100,000 population. We introduced vaccination in animals in 2008. The objective of this study is to describe the epidemiological pattern of human brucellosis in Macedonia and to monitor the human brucellosis cases after the implementation of vaccination in animals. This is a descriptive study, and we reviewed the official reports. The data was collected from the archives of the Institute of Public Health and the Food and Veterinary Agency, and include individual report of cases, epidemiological questionnaires, reports from field visits, and periodic bulletins. We used Pearson correlation to measure the association between infected animals and humans after introducing the vaccination in animals. We also did a review of the published papers for brucellosis in Republic of Macedonia. For the results, we can see that in the 15-year period from 2001 to 2015, we registered 3,728 cases. Almost the whole country was an endemic area, and only one region of the country didn't register any human cases. The highest incidence of brucellosis in this period was registered in 2008, and the lowest incidence was registered in 2015. The mean annual incidence for this disease for this period was 12.2 over 100,000 population. In this graph, we can see the distribution of cases by age group and gender. We can see that the most affected age group was 40 to 49 years old and over 60, with 18% of cases, and the lowest number of cases were registered in children aged 0 to 9. The gender male to female ratio for this disease was calculated to be 2.4 over 1, which means that males are more than twice affected than females, and this fact has been recorded decades before. In this graph, we can see the distribution of brucellosis cases by month and year, and we can see that there is a clear seasonality of the disease from late winter to summer, with a peak from the period of May to July. But at the end of this slide, we can see that in 2014 and 15, as the number of cases in the country decreases, we lost seasonality, because few cases are registered, and they are throughout the year, throughout the whole year. In this graph, we can see the number of human and animal brucellosis cases by year in parallel. And we can see that after the introduction of vaccination in animals in 2008, there is a decrease of the number of cases, both in human and animal cases, which is more than 70% when we, compared to the previous period before vaccination. From the Pearson correlation, we measured that there is a strong positive correlation between animal and human cases after the introduction of vaccination. This is a geographical distribution of the mean annual incidence of brucellosis by a local unit, and we can see that there are 3 regions in the eastern part of the country which are most affected with this disease. This is a map of the regions of brucellosis related to the spread of infected animals. And if we compare this map to the previous of the human cases, we can see that the regions where human cases are mostly registered and where the prevalence of the disease among animals is highest are the same. Regarding the modes of transmission, we found that the contact with animals with 57% and consumption of raw animal products like unpasteurized milk and meat was 33.6%. But we also found that almost 30%, in almost 30%, there was interviewing of contact and alimentary mode of transmission, and we couldn't find the real one. Regarding the occupational hazard, we can see that the most of the cases were declared unemployed. But I must stress out here that every one of these here work with animals, so they are connected to them. In this study, we found that vaccination of animal decreased animal cases, animal brucellosis cases, but also significantly reduced human cases. Other measures implemented from the public health sector and from the veterinarian sector may also have influenced the decrease of the number of cases. Based on literature, elimination of the problem in humans requires continuous intervention and monitoring of the situation in animals and humans too. The limitations of the study may be to the timeliness in regular reporting of human and animal cases, and to the limited number of research and published papers in the Republic of Macedonia. Recommendations coming out from this study are that we need to improve the surveillance system for human cases, and we need to continue, the veterinary authorities need to continue the existing vaccination and intensify it in critical areas. We also need a multidisciplinary approach for education of population at risk. At the end, I want to thank the colleagues from the Institute of Public Health and the national supervisors, as well as the MediPIET scientific coordinator. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dragan, for a clear, very clear presentation. And once again, you remind us how you significantly are related each to other, humans and animals' health. Now time for questions and comments, please. Dr. Pata.
Pata Mnedzev, Georgia. Just one question about what species of brucellosis are prevalent in your country, so abortus or melitensis?
Well, regarding the species that are prevalent, we don't have that information. So maybe I can check with the veterinary authorities and then answer that question. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm Ihab Pasha from Egypt, EPI Egypt. I want to ask about the first 5 years when we noticed that the human cases were increasing while the animal cases were decreasing. What about the cause? Is there a cause? Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question, but if we can go back to the graph, We can see that even as you said,
Can you open presentation? Somebody will help us, please, from technical support we need.
okay. As you mentioned, there is some decrease in the animal cases and increase in human cases, but that can be related to the mode of transmission, not only with contact with animals. People eat or drink unpasteurized milk and other products of animals, and maybe that's the reason why the number of human cases increased.
Think.
Thank you very much for this nice, informative presentation. But I just have a small question about the confirmation of brucella. Is it by culture, blood culture, or by tube agglutination, or what is the method of confirmation of these brucella cases? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Brucellosis cases regionally are confirmed by a serologic test, Brucella CAPT and BAP testing. But according to the regulations in our country, for every positive case, they need to send to the Institute of Public Health for further confirmation by PCR.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the audience? No. I have one short question. Dragan, you show us absolute number of cases within different age groups, and according to absolute numbers, you estimated the mostly affected age groups. And I'm interested if you estimated age-specific incidence rate. Maybe you have this data and show us, please. Okay.
I don't have the slide in here, but the highest incidence was also found to be in the age group of 40 to 49 years. Yes.
Thank you very much. If there is no questions and comments, we will finish with Dragan. Thank you, Dragan.